friends. Hello, hi, how are you? I hope you guys are having an amazing day today. Hello. So, man, I am just slumped today. I feel very tired. It's been like rainy and windy here for the past few days. I've just been feeling really cozy, really tired. Lethargic would be a great word. Hi, hello. So today we are going to be doing a little bit of a negative video. This isn't necessarily negative, but I do think it's a conversation that I want to have with you guys. I want to talk to, I feel like people are going to get anxious about how close this candle is to me, so I'm just gonna move her back so you guys don't get stressed. I can just see the comments. In today's video, I want to talk about something. This is kind of like an anti-haul. I haven't really done an anti-haul in a while. I've been steering more towards like, will I buy it style videos, just because that seems to be what people are kind of gravitating to. People tend to like the more positive mixed with the negative. But this is kind of an anti-haul, but it's an anti-haul focusing on more anti-hauling brands BS and not necessarily just a singular product. I know already from the title that I think I'm gonna title this that people are gonna be like,
well, all companies just want to take your money. Like, that's just how business works. Like, businesses just work as people wanting to take your money.
And that's true. But I do think, especially in the makeup industry, there is kind of a line of like ethical business practice where you're actually putting out a good product to get a good return. Like, you're investing into a good product that people actually should be spending their money on. You know, there's a market for it. Like, it's good quality. Like, there's a difference between putting out a good product for the sake of making money and putting out a crappy, gimmicky product that you know you're only putting out so 14-year-olds will buy it and you'll make a lot of money. There's a difference to me, and I want to talk about that difference. So yes, I'm very well aware that all businesses want to make money. They're a business for a reason, and that's true. But I don't think that means we shouldn't discuss the blatant money grabs that have been happening, particularly now that we're in like the holiday season. I think there's been a lot of launches that are just so blatantly money grabs, and I think they're important to discuss. The very first one I want to talk about is the Morphe and James Charles palette. This is actually the palette that inspired this entire video. Now, I know some of you might be like, oh my god, what? He put out a new palette? No. James Charles launched his mini Morphe set, and it's basically the James Charles palette, the one that he sold millions of them. Everyone has one, like a ton of people own them. It was a very sought after popular palette last year. He is selling the same exact palette in a mini. And I think what I really loved about this was during James's launch video, his like release video talking about this mini palette, he was like, well, I didn't want to scam you guys. I didn't want to scam you guys, and I didn't want to give you a palette with different colors, because when I put this palette out, I claimed that you could do absolutely any look with it. And that's still the truth. So I'm just going to give you a mini version with some slight adjustments. Cut it out, James Charles. You did not make this palette because you didn't want to scam. This was a very easy thing for you guys to do, so you did it. Like, let's just be point blank honest, 100% real with each other right now, that you did not make another eyeshadow palette because you thought yours was like, although, you know what, maybe James Charles, as a separate person, really did think his eyeshadow palette was so perfect that nothing he could create would top it. Maybe he did. Morphe didn't. Morphe knew it would be so incredibly simple to make the same exact palette in a mini size, so they ran with this idea. I thought it was funny too in James's launch video that he was like, well, at first people were telling me like they wished it was smaller, they wished they had a mirror, and I just thought they were crazy, because nobody could ever give a constructive criticism about the James Charles palette and have it be valid. I guess he said after he used it, he realized that maybe his palette wasn't the most perfect palette to ever grace the face of the earth, and that maybe those concerns were valid. So the only difference between this palette and the big palette is this palette is smaller. It's like half the size. It has the same number of shadows, so the pan sizes are literally going to be like this big. Like, they're going to be so ridiculously small because they're fitting 39 shades into a tiny, tiny little palette, and this one has a mirror. That's the only difference. Literally it. I actually think what could have been an interesting idea was taking that big palette and splitting it up into two separate palettes. So if you were more just like a neutrals person, you could just buy the neutral version of that palette. And if you wanted only the colorful shadows, you could buy just a colorful. That is something I could have at least gotten a little bit behind. It's still a cash grab and it's still, you know, kind of stupid, but at least it's like different. Like, it's something different. Like, you're acknowledging that like maybe some people really do just want the colorful parts. Like, maybe they don't need it. Maybe some people just want the everyday parts. Like, you know what I mean? Nothing about this actually makes sense. And he also added to his brush, because he made like a brush set with Morphe, and he added to the brush set to make it a mini brush set that's like $65 or something nuts like that. Don't buy these Morphe brush sets, I'm telling you, they're not good. The reason I think that this offended me, I wasn't really that offended. I think this is just a perfect example of a company just blatantly using this like mega millions like followed person like James Charles and just using him to sell something. Like, they know that this product is not very good. Like, they know that it's a crappy idea. They know this is kind of stupid. Nobody is out here thinking that making this huge palette that millions of people already own into a mini that they literally do not need. And that's the other thing too. The big way they were marketing was like, oh, this could be good for travel. How many people are traveling that often? Like, honestly, because I travel probably 2 or 3 times a year, and I feel like that's a lot. Like, how many of you guys are actually traveling that often to the point where you absolutely couldn't just bring a different palette? Like, that's the, like, that doesn't make any sense. They know that this is not a good idea. They know that this is a cash grab. They knew that this would be an easy thing to do to make money. They already had all of the colors and everything picked out, the layout picked out. Like, this was an easy thing for them to do. And also, it's very convenient that it's coming out right before Christmas. So all of his fans who are kids, who are really his main demographic at this point, are like 14 and 15-year-olds. Look at who goes to his meet and greets. His fan base is primarily young kids. Like, that's who it is. Guess who asks for Christmas presents like the mini James Charles palette? Young kids. Like, the whole thing, it's very transparent to me as a person who tries to be like aware of these kind of like shady business things. But the reason I was so offended by this one just because it was so obvious. Like, everybody knew it. Everybody saw that, and on Twitter it was like, this is such a cash grab. It is so ridiculous. Like, I just can't understand looking at my audience in the face and like the people that made me a millionaire. Because his audience, James Charles's audience, has made him a millionaire. He is a millionaire because of them. I can't imagine sitting in front of a camera looking at my audience that made me a millionaire and being like, here's this product I put literally 0 effort into and threw together because I wanted to make even more money off of your hard work. I can't imagine it. And Morphe's marketing of it is just so ridiculous. Like, if you already have the James Charles palette, do not buy this palette. It's so utterly like stupid. It's just so stupid. You don't need the same colors. And then, and I guess some people were saying like, oh, I've already hit pan on my James Charles palette. So, and you know what? If this works for you and you've already hit pan on it and you like absolutely live for it, fine, go for it. But it was unnecessary for them to make it in the first place. And it's so incredibly stupid that like kids who already own this palette, have barely gotten any use out of it in the first place, are gonna go out and buy this just because their idol James is selling it. Like, that's the thing. The use of influencers to sell crappy products is getting more and more and more apparent, and it's just getting to a point where it's like literally offensive to consumers, the amount of crap that these influencers are pushing and being like, buy. A lot of people were pointing out, they were like, well, in his video he said like, don't feel pressured to buy it, don't feel like you have to buy it. He's so influential. Like, this isn't like me. This isn't like someone my size being like putting something out like that where everybody, no, you know what I mean? Like, he has like 16 or 17, however many million subscribers. He has an incredible influence. It doesn't matter if he's not outwardly like putting a gun to your head and forcing you to do it. Him endorsing it and him putting his name on it is enough to sell a ton of them. And it's absurd to me. I'm sick of influencers putting their name, like the Jaclyn Ho vault thing. Like, I'm just sick of influencers putting their name on stuff that's not even that good. There's no thought put into it, and they just do it just to like get the cash grab because they know people are gonna buy it. I'm over it. Oh, hello, just editing me. I also just want to point out that I find it incredibly interesting that James Charles flipped out about the Wet n Wild palette very shortly before this palette was released. I think that explains a lot about why he was so angry about the Wet n Wild palette, and that's because they are now a direct competitor with his new mini palette. But their palette is still cheaper and still probably a similar formula. So that makes a lot more sense to me now too, why he like lost his mind over that situation. So yeah. The next sort of like scam I want to talk about are advent calendars, specifically makeup advent calendars. The only thing that should be going in an advent calendar is chocolate, okay? I said it, like that's what I feel. I said what I said. There is no reason for you to go out and buy a $200 Charlotte Tilbury advent calendar. No reason. Her stuff is expensive enough as it is. A lot of people like advent calendars that have things like makeup inside of them because they feel like they're getting a good deal. Spending over $200 to get a trial size in something is not a good deal. That's not a bargain. Just because you get to try a lot of things at once, it doesn't matter. Like, spend it on one full-size thing. Better yet, just go to a couple different Sephoras. You can get 3 samples at each one, and you can try out all of that stuff for free $99. It costs you nothing. Paying that much money, paying any amount of money for things like samples is absurd. Like, absolutely absurd to me. The only time I think it makes sense is with something like mascara, when you're like, it'll last a while and like that goes bad anyway super quickly. Like, that's just ridiculous. I was seeing NYX has like a big one where every single day for 25 days you open it and you get like a lip product, right? And it's like a mini size lip product and it's like $50. While I'm sure you do get like a lot of value in that, like I'm sure getting all of those lipsticks, that is like a good value technically because you're getting a lot of stuff from that. I don't know about you guys, but I already have lipsticks that work for me. Like, I have a color scheme that works for me. I know what colors work and what colors don't work. I have a bunch of lipsticks in the colors that I actually like. God knows I have like a million nudes. Also, undertones of lipstick can really drastically affect if you're gonna wear that lipstick or if you're gonna like it or not. I would recommend, because lip products from NYX are already so cheap, just go and buy like 3 full size. For $50, you could go buy how many butter glosses? They're $5 a piece. 5 divided by 50. Literally, how have you made it this far in life being so gosh darn stupid? How? You could go buy just like 10 of their butter glosses and for the price that you're gonna pay, paying $50 and getting 25 of these mini sizes that like 10 of them you're probably not even gonna like anyway and it'd be a weird color for you and it's just not going to work, right? It's the same thing with all these other brands doing this. Like, instead of paying $200 for Charlotte Tilbury's little box, like just go buy something from Charlotte Tilbury that you yourself were interested in the first place. Because it's obvious you're interested in the brand if you're gonna go spend that much on an advent calendar. Advent calendars are also notoriously full of just crap, like notoriously full of things that either didn't sell, weren't selling, like things that are just cheap. Like Sephora had an advent calendar last year that Alexandria, I believe her name's Alexandria Ryan. I'll link her channel down below. She does a ton of like unboxings and she did advent calendar unboxings and you got to see just how bad like the Sephora one was for the price you're paying. And at the end of the day, companies wouldn't be making this type of stuff like advent calendars if they were actually giving you good quality products and were going to be losing value on it. Like, at the end of the day, companies just want to make money. So they're putting in things that are less marketable, less valuable to them. You're never gonna get like a full actual value from that. Never. And while maybe it's fun to like open an advent calendar and like get something new, you know who has a really cool advent calendar? Target. And guess what it is? Socks. Every day it's like $15 and every day you open it up and you get a fun pair of Christmas socks. You don't have to be a certain color to make a certain style of Christmas sock work for you. You can throw them on. They're cozy. It's cold, so you maybe need the warmth. That is $15 well spent in my opinion. Spending $50, and also right after, by the way, this is just a complete side note, but I have noticed this every single year, right after like Christmas, like the 5th of December, right? Those NYX advent calendars go on sale like clockwork and they're like $25. They're significantly cheaper. So if you really have your heart set on acquiring 25 mini NYX lipsticks, then like at least wait and get it then. Like, at least don't feel the pressure to get it before Christmas starts, because I guarantee you all of these are going to be discounted during the month of December and after Christmas when they can no longer sell them and they have no value to that company anymore. If you really, really want the things that are inside the advent calendar and you're really like vibing with it, wait until after Christmas. You will get the same stuff and you won't have to worry about opening a little box every day with a crappy little like trial size in it, okay? The final thing I want to discuss in this video is Christmas sets. Now, I don't inherently see something wrong with Christmas sets if they have value. For example, like the perfume sets you can get at Sephora where you can redeem a coupon for a full size of one of the perfumes that you really like, or like the mascara bundles at Sephora where you can get like a bunch of different like deluxe trial size mascaras. Even though I'm kind of against buying trial size things, like that is still at least like a decent value, and I'm pretty sure that comes with a coupon too for a full size mascara. So those are at least like you can possibly get your value back. You get to try a bunch of different things. Like I do see the value in something like that. Like I appreciate that. However, I think some Christmas gift set things, people are so obsessed with the fact that they're getting a good value that they like they forget that like what they're buying might not actually be worth it in the first place. For example, Beauty Blender does this like value gift set where you get like 4 sponges and like what it comes in the cool packaging. At the end of the day, you're still paying $65 for 4 sponges. You know what I mean? Like keep that perspective. Just because normally beauty blenders are so crazy and the normal retail value would be 10 times more expensive doesn't mean you need all of this crap, right? Like that doesn't mean that you need to get 25 different things. I actually fell for this trap because I really wanted that little Too Faced gingerbread bronzer because I thought it was adorable and I loved it, and I love bronzers, and I was like, I'm gonna buy this cute little bronzer for myself. I'm gonna go against it. You could only buy it in the set. So I ended up having a $25 coupon, so I just used that for it. But I ended up getting like that, a lipstick. Now I also have this little gingerbread man case that like, I guess maybe I'll use, but like I didn't need any of that crap. And the retail value was like $75, but I really only wanted the bronzer. And that was a mistake I made. I fell into that hype, and I don't want you guys to fall into that hype because I feel like the way that they market these things is like, look at the value you're getting for what you're actually going to be getting. Like look at the retail value you would have paid if you needed to buy all this stuff. But really ask yourself, would I have bought all of this stuff anyway? Like Fenty does this. They come out with these huge, massive, like big gift sets, right? That are like super, super discounted if you were to buy all of them together, right? But would you have actually been buying all those lipsticks together in the first place if they weren't bundled? Would you have been buying these random assortment of skincare items together in the first place, all together, all at once, if they weren't in this type of bundle? Or would you probably have picked your favorite 1 or 2 things and just bought those? And I understand the math of like, well, if I bought just 1 or 2 full-size Drunk Elephant things, it would be the same price as getting all of these other things. And it's like, yes, but you need these other things because there comes a point where a good bargain and adding unnecessary clutter to your life, like you have to make a decision, because I know that if I were to buy one of those like Fenty lipstick bundles, right, that are on sale right now for like $90, which you get a ton of lipsticks, I probably wouldn't use a lot of those lipsticks. They'd just sit in my drawer. They'd probably become overwhelming to me because it's so many and you're getting so much at one time. That's something a lot of people don't talk about. When you buy or receive a lot of makeup at one time, it can be very, there's things that don't get used. There's things that just sit there and kind of go to waste because you're so excited about so many things. There's bound to be things that you get that you're less excited about. And that's kind of how these sort of makeup sets and these bundles that go together work. You're excited about the one thing. Like I was excited about the bronzer, but I was like, you know, like it's a good value. Like I'll get a lipstick out of it too. And the lipstick's kind of cute. I'm probably barely gonna wear that lipstick because I didn't buy the bundle for that lipstick. I bought it for the bronzer. I think this is something that companies definitely try to capitalize on. They try to capitalize on our idea of wanting to get a bargain, because that's why places like TJ Maxx and Marshalls are so popular right now as far as buying makeup, and getting discounted makeup is huge. Things like ColourPop are blowing up because it's a great value. It's a great bargain, right? You're paying a good price. Everybody just wants to pay a good price, especially in the world of makeup where everything seems to be so expensive. Even drugstore makeup is getting more expensive. So I think makeup companies sort of capitalize off this idea of, look at what good of a deal you're getting. This is a $163 value and you're getting it for $63. But what people don't tell you is that you didn't need 9 out of 10 of those things in the first place. So are you really saving money? You might be, but are you adding unnecessary clutter to your collection of things you don't actually want or need? Absolutely. And that's just something to keep in mind, because as the holidays get closer and closer, it's gonna get so much worse. Like a billion times worse. There's gonna be so many of these like bogus collection thingies that are just like weird and bad. And I just want everyone to keep in mind, like at the end of the day, yes, brands want to make money and there's nothing wrong with that. They're businesses. We live in a capitalist capitalist society. Like, that's just how the world works. However, I do think brands can sometimes take things too far. I think they can put out crap that they know isn't good and still try to market to us like it's this amazing gift from the heavens. And that's when we as the consumer have to take a step back, take responsibility, and be like, we are not gonna buy from you. We rebuke your tomfoolery, okay? That's what we have to do. I love you guys so much. I hope you liked this video. If you did, please like and subscribe, or just like, or just subscribe, or do neither. Honestly, just so happy you're watching me. Thank you so much for being here. My merch, my social media, and everything I'm wearing on my face will be linked down below, along with a link to register to vote. That's right. You can go click on that link. You can register to vote in your local, state, federal elections, and you can make a difference in the world. And if that link does not apply to you and you live in a different country, please make sure you are using your voice in a positive way. You're staying aware of what's going on around you. The world literally needs it so bad. I love you guys so much, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!